exploring stress inoculation via simulation, a disaster simulation and preparedness gaming perspective.
Welcome to the Universal Principles podcast. Today we're diving into stress inoculation via simulation. The basic idea is that exposing people to manageable amounts of stress in a safe environment can build resilience. But how does this work in practice?
Thanks for having me. I come from the world of disaster simulation and preparedness gaming. What's fascinating about stress inoculation is its connection to how we prepare for the unpredictable. Our field designs simulations that gradually increase in intensity to help people develop the mental and practical skills needed to handle real disasters.
Disaster simulation sounds intense. What's the higher concept we should keep in mind?
At its core, the higher concept is that controlled exposure to adversity fosters adaptability and resilience. By experiencing manageable challenges and safe failures in a simulated environment, individuals learn from their mistakes without real-world consequences, ultimately becoming more prepared for the unexpected.
Could you walk us through a concrete example from the disaster simulation field?
Certainly, imagine a disaster simulation game. It might start with a simple scenario, like a small fire in a building. As participants successfully manage the fire, the simulation gradually increases in complexity. This could involve a building collapse with multiple casualties, resource constraints, and communication failures. Each step builds on the previous one, increasing stress in a controlled manner.
That makes sense, so it's about progressively overloading their systems, but in a safe space. What's another example?
Another example comes from medical simulations. Med students and practicing doctors face situations where patient conditions escalate to mimic the pressure of a real emergency room. They might start with a stable patient and then have to deal with sudden complications, forcing them to make quick decisions under duress. The simulator allows for immediate feedback and reflection without endangering actual patients.
So it's not just about the technical skills, but also the mental and emotional resilience. How does this connect to other fields?
Absolutely. We see a similar principle at play in virtual reality psychotherapy, specifically with the controlled exposure principle. Therapists use VR to gradually expose patients to their fears in a safe, controlled environment, helping them overcome phobias and anxieties.
That's fascinating. So how can our listeners implement this principle in their own lives, even without access to fancy simulations?
Here are 3 practical tips. First, identify a situation that causes you stress. Second, break that situation down into smaller, manageable components. Third, gradually expose yourself to those components, starting with the least stressful and working your way up. For instance, if you fear public speaking, start by practicing in front of a mirror, then a friend, then a small group, and so on.
Great actionable advice. Any final thoughts on stress inoculation via simulation?
Just remember, building resilience is a process. Don't be afraid to fail, learn from your mistakes, and keep pushing yourself outside your comfort zone, but do it methodically. It's about preparedness, not perfection.
Excellent point. Thanks for sharing your insights on universal principles. Where can listeners find out more about your work?
I am on most social media platforms. Thank you for having me.
That's all the time we have for today on Universal Principles. Join us next time as we explore another fascinating principle.